It was supposed to be a weekend of fun, laughter, and bonding for four friends: Sam, Lisa, Mark, and Rachel. They had planned this camping trip for months, eager to escape the city's hustle and reconnect with nature. Little did they know, they would soon find themselves trapped in a living nightmare. The first day had been perfect. The group set up their tents at a secluded campsite deep within the Whispering Pines forest. The air was crisp, the sound of a distant stream adding to the tranquility of their surroundings. As evening fell, they gathered around the campfire, sharing ghost stories and roasting marshmallows, unaware of the horrors awaiting them. That night, the weather turned unexpectedly. Heavy clouds rolled in, and the sky opened up, releasing a downpour that drenched everything in minutes. The crackling fire sputtered out, leaving them huddled under their tent's thin canvas, listening to the relentless patter of rain. As the hours passed, the rain only intensified, accompanied by a fierce wind that howled through the trees. Sleep seemed impossible. Every sound was amplified: the rustling of leaves, the snapping of twigs, and something else, something they couldn't quite place. A faint whispering that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Sam was the first to voice what they were all thinking. "Did you hear that?" he whispered, his voice barely audible over the rain. "Hear what?" Lisa asked, her eyes wide with unease. That voice. Like someone's whispering outside. The group fell silent, straining to listen. For a few seconds, there was nothing but the sound of the storm. Then, they heard it: a soft, almost inaudible murmur. It was as if someone was standing just outside the tent, speaking in a language none of them understood. Mark's face went pale. "It's probably just the wind," he said, though his voice trembled. "Nothing to worry about." But Rachel wasn't convinced. She pulled out her flashlight and unzipped the tent flap just enough to peek outside. The beam of light cut through the rain, revealing the dense, dark woods beyond. There was no sign of anyone or anything near their campsite. Still, the whispering continued, growing slightly louder and more insistent. It was coming from all directions now, circling them like a predator stalking its prey. "I don't like this," Lisa said, hugging her knees to her chest. "What if it's something supernatural?" Sam scoffed, trying to keep his composure. "Ghosts? Come on, Lisa. We're just spooking ourselves. There's no such thing." But even as he said it, he didn't believe his own words. The whispers were too real, too close. And they seemed to be calling out their names. They decided to huddle together in a single tent for the rest of the night, hoping the storm would pass and the whispers would cease. But sleep was out of the question. The whispering grew louder and louder, and with it came the unmistakable sound of footsteps squelching through the muddy ground around them. "Who's out there?" Mark shouted, shining his flashlight through the tent's small window. The beam flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in. Rachel fumbled for the spare batteries, but the flashlight wouldn't turn back on. None of their devices would. It was as if something was draining the energy around them, feeding off their fear. The footsteps grew closer, stopping just outside the tent. The friends held their breath, their hearts pounding like drums in their chests. Then, a long, scraping sound echoed through the silence, like nails dragging across the tent's fabric. "Leave us alone!" Lisa screamed. Silence. For a few heartbeats, there was nothing but the sound of rain and their own ragged breathing. Then, slowly, the tent's zipper began to slide down on its own. Inch by inch, it revealed the pitch-black night outside. Sam lunged forward, yanking the zipper back up and securing it with trembling hands. But the damage was done. Something was out there, something that wanted in. "We need to leave," Rachel whispered urgently. "Now." But the storm was too fierce. The path back to their car was treacherous, and they risked getting lost or worse. Just when they thought the whispers couldn't get any louder, they stopped. The rain, too, ceased abruptly, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. Then, a single, clear voice spoke from just outside the tent. "Come out. I see you." It was a woman's voice, soft and melodic, but filled with a malice that made their blood run cold. They didn't move. Didn't dare make a sound. The woman's voice laughed softly. You can't hide forever. Suddenly, the tent was ripped open, and a blinding light filled the small space. The friends screamed, shielding their eyes. When they dared to look again, they were alone. The rain had stopped, and the storm clouds were clearing, revealing a star-studded sky. There was no sign of the woman or whatever had tormented them. Trembling and exhausted, they packed up their belongings and made their way back to the car. But as they reached the edge of the woods, Mark froze, pointing to something carved into the bark of a nearby tree. It was a single word, etched deep and dripping with fresh sap: stay. No one spoke as they piled into the car and sped away, leaving whispering pines behind. But the nightmare didn't end there. Each of them would continue to hear the whispers in their dreams, always calling them back to that cursed campsite. And one by one, over the years, they would disappear, never to be seen again.